Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Gettys Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Hey, we're back at it again, and if you're listening to us, that means we're here too, because then we're...
What does that even mean?
I don't know. It's just silly radio talk, but you might not be listening to us on the radio, of course. You might be listening on a tablet or a pad or what do you call them? iPads or tablets?
All of those.
I still call it all those things.
It's all of those things. Your computer,
or the phone, or the computer,
smartphone,
all those things. Smart TVs.
It works really well.
You can get the iHeart app right on your smart TV. Yeah.
I have it. I use it on my phone and on my iPad. It works great.
It really does. And then we're also on YouTube. The show is on YouTube, folks. If you look up Zoey Advertising on YouTube, you
and
can
I
see
listened. Tom, several months ago, we were coming back from a distance in the South and driving, and I put on the iHeart Music app. I listened to a whole bunch of shows.
Oh, yeah, you can do that.
And there's no stand. You're like, I'm in Virginia or somewhere coming out. Reception's great. It's all clear.
Absolutely.
And I realized how amazing you are, Tom. So why is it that everybody comes in here and the first thing they say is, you're the guy with the voice?
Well,
you get tired of hearing that?
No, I never do. But,
okay, just checking that. Because I'm a little tired of
these AI voices sound pretty darn good. That's going to put me right out of business and all that. But,
then you'll just have to go back to selling 8-track players at Radio Shack, Tom.
Right. I'll tell you what. But here's a gal who'll never go out of style. It's Mary Thompson. She's the executive director of the Homebuilders and Remodelers of CNY. Doing a great job out there. How are you, Mary?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me. Things are well.
Thank you for being here. You've done, you've had so many challenges, and yet the business of remodeling and home building is just booming. You can't find an electrician or a plumber or anybody in those service industries.
It's really very challenging. The industry continues, especially remodeling existing housing.
Yeah.
A lot of people have chosen to stay in their homes, and so they're doing new and different things, or just maintenance.
Sure.
To it. But you can find people at the Home and Garden Show coming up.
That's right. And we'll talk all about that. Now, Mary, just a little bit of background so listeners know where you came from and all that. What did you do before the Home Builders?
I was at the On-Center complex for about 11 years, and before that,
Were you in charge of maintenance? What did you do there?
She was like the facility banquet.
Let her answer the question, Tom.
The director of event administration.
Right.
So the event coordinators and the tech coordinators were under me. So we worked with the clients on planning the events and stuff. And I believe that's where I met Tom.
Yeah, when I had the DJ business full time, we were doing a lot, and she saw the value in what I did.
How do you know
which
that?
was nice. Well, because she said,
I
see the value.
Okay.
Yeah. Because she would recommend me. And now it's a whole different
world. He was easy to work with then.
All that stuff. Yeah. Well, we had fun.
Yeah.
And when you're putting on these events for 200-300 people and everything, you got to be gelled, right?
Correct.
You got to be together.
That's right.
Oh, golly. Well, that's good. And now you went on to, take care of the home builders and remodelers, which is a big job. But, of course, the pandemic dealt you a hard blow, right? It was tough through
It
that
really
time.
did. It was great for the industry because it made people really realize the value of their homes and therefore want to fix them up, pay attention to them, adjust, remodel, or build new.
Right.
But it was really hard on the association.
Yeah. Well, and for a while there, a lot of the service people had to wear the masks, and it's one thing to wear booties into the house, but then it was like, gosh, we got to put on a mask just to do an estimate, and people were reluctant. They were thinking, oh, golly, if this person comes in, are they contracting the disease and the this?
Well, they didn't know, and then they just
that got so
fear,
political.
right?
And
All of the things. So
Yeah.
when you were
Nutty.
DJing down there
at the onset, yes.
at the thing, so that affected you in a big way.
Oh, you mean during the pandemic?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. There was only like 4 events, I think, and then I actually had to put a banner out on this one event when what's his name, Cuomo the Wacko was still in,
Yes.
and he actually made people. You had to say stay 6 feet away from the DJ. You couldn't request.
Oh, wow.
People have been doing that for
Shouldn't
years.
that be my choice? You know, I mean, yeah, right. People stay away from me just because of my looks, but other than that, anyway, all that's behind us. So now we fast forward. We get a little bit more into it. You during the week, we were just talking before we went on the air. During the week, you went to the economic luncheon, and I haven't been to one of those in a while. Tell me what they said there.
It was Center State's Economic Forecast Breakfast the other day.
Yeah.
Very well done. They had economists in talking about issues, labor, huge issue, and that's a very big issue in the residential construction industry, and energy and China were the 3 big things he talked about. And then Rob Simpson talked about Micron and how that's going to be affecting the area, and that we have to move forward together, kind of rowing all in the same direction. So it was very positive.
Everybody needs some place to live, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
So how's that
yeah.
going to affect your members?
It's affecting us in huge ways. Yeah, right now we're talking a lot about land development, density, the importance of density, and that's not something that our local municipalities have looked at as strongly. And they're asking us to change things very quickly, which of course it can be challenging.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of work to do, but we're moving down that path.
What is the Homebuilders and Remodelers Association? Like, what's the function of it?
Yeah, it is a trade association for residential construction. So it's Homebuilders, Remodelers, and all the allied services, windows, doors, HVAC, anything that has to do with your home, gutter companies. We do education for our members. We do some discussions and interactions with both local, state, and national elected officials to let them know, well, if you do this, this is how it's going to affect homeowners and the industry. And we produce the Parade of Homes and the Home and Garden Show.
How did the Parade of Homes go this year, given the fact that people were so busy,
It went well. We ended up, because of supply chain issues, which is still a big issue in the industry, that's the bottom line, labor and supply chain are still challenges. So we had to move it back to mid-October, which was hard because it gets dark earlier.
Yeah. Usually it's in September.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
and it will be this year, in 2023. But it went well. The gate was good. There are still a couple homes for sale if anybody's interested.
Steve,
up on Onondaga Hill.
Get back into the home.
West Hill Schools. It's beautiful.
Yeah, what's a school? I'm good.
I think if we wanted one of those homes, Steve and I would have to team up.
I know. Well, they're beautiful. I mean, you put your builders put their best foot forward in those. Those are A++ properties.
They can show off a little, yeah.
Right?
That's correct.
And I mean, they're just everyone I've seen ever. I'm like, wow, they're just amazing.
Because people go, and it really helps to fuel the industry, because you may go and say, oh, that's the countertop I want, and Tom may go and say, oh, I want that bathroom tile. So it really it spurs all the other parts of the industry. We have remodeler members who will walk clients through the Parade of Homes so that they can say, oh, look at this, look at that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. And then, so then the next big thing to come along will be the Home and Garden Show.
Yes.
And what are the dates of those?
It's March 17th through the 19th at the Expo Center at the New York State Fairgrounds. And we do still have some exhibit space left available. Visit hbrcny.com or call our office at 315-463-6261. But the Home and Garden Show really took a beating, as you mentioned earlier, Tom, during the pandemic. We went 2 years that we couldn't do it. And then last year it was able to happen, but right when the pandemic was, I know supposedly it's not done, but was close to ending. They had just days before lifted the mask mandate.
Yeah.
And so this is our first year back.
Really back, yeah. Yeah, some of the pundits would never let it go, but...
And they haven't,
right,
Tom.
and they haven't, right. Hey, Mary, would you mind sticking around? I'd like to ask you some more questions. Would you mind?
Sure.
Okay, great. We'll come back with Mary Thompson. She's the executive director of the Homebuilders and Remodelers of CNY. We'll talk more to her right here on The Local Show, so stick around.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Gettys Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Hey, it's great to have you back. I'm glad you didn't go too far from your device and you're listening to Tom and Steve on The Local Show, having a great time with you this weekend. We're kind of in the dead of winter, which is not much of a winter, and that's fine with me.
I am
Just
Tom.
a little coating
I'm
is
not
good.
a fan of
Right.
winter,
I
and
know
if the shorter it is and the less messy it is,
The better off we are,
but we plan to escape in the off season on and off, and that's what we save our time up to do. And so we do a little of that. Judy has one thing she needs, which is sand and sun. That's two things, right?
Yeah, that's a couple of things,
and I just someplace I can throw a fishing pole.
Yeah, someplace
and
you can throw your Speedo on and just be yourself.
No, fishing pole, Tom.
Yes,
Fishing pole.
All right. He really does have a Speedo. I'll try to get a picture of it, folks. Mary Thompson is back with us. She's the executive director of the Homebuilders and Remodelers of CNY. We're having a conversation with her all about the Home and Garden Show that'll be coming up very soon. And this year's, you know what I like best is that you're just in that one building now, right?
Correct. We're
Yeah.
in the Expo Center.
Remember the old days, you
Yeah,
were
we were
spread
back
out
and
all
forth.
over the place.
Yeah, that's correct. We used to be have a whole busing
Yeah, you have
system.
the shuttles,
Yeah, it's great to have that building, and it's new.
Fresh, yeah, very
Had the
nice.
governor asked me, I would have done things a little differently from my days at the On Center,
Yes.
but it's a great building, and we're happy to be there.
You know, Tom, I heard a rumor.
What'd you hear?
I heard a rumor that there's a pretty good chance that the Local Show is going to be broadcasting from the Home and Garden Show
There sure is.
on
Come out.
Saturday,
Yes, that would be
the
fun.
11 to 1. So
Now, let me ask a question.
Yeah, sure.
Are we going to have to get extra security for your fans
Well,
that are
that
going to
happens.
mob?
most of them, you just need a place to put the walkers. Like have a little pen, Tom's and mine included, and
As long as Steve doesn't wear the Speedo, I think
what's
we're
with
okay.
the Speedo? So that would be fun and a chance to meet.
I'd like to have some bodyguards all around us with masks on, just to emphasize that we're politically correct. No, it'll be fun, and of course, a lot of our clients are in the show and participating in the show, and then there's some new people there that we'd like to talk.
Yeah, and
with.
they love the show.
Yeah.
And I have heard so many times contractors type folks go, we get more business at the home show than they cut off the garden part. They always call it the home show,
home
right?
show.
I know.
Yeah, because it is more home than garden. Let's be honest.
Well, it depends on the garden is really outside your home. That's a
Landscaping.
pretty way
Yeah,
to say
right.
outside
See,
your
I
home.
think tomatoes and carrots.
Oh, okay. Well, we say garden because lawn mowers and sheds.
Yeah. No, it's
and-
prettier.
Yeah,
It's
I see.
warmer to say it that
At
way.
first, I thought it was flowers. I was thinking, it's
Tom,
going to be fun.
And we get
flowers.
that. We get that a lot, but we are not a
You're not a
flower,
flower show, no.
But I will say, Syracuse Lightscapes is going to be doing a feature this year that should be really beautiful. They do amazing.
They are
work.
amazing. I would love to have them come over to my house.
Yeah,
If Steve
they-
would pay me even just a fair wage, I could have them in the backyard.
Yeah, they do
actually,
beautiful
Tom
work.
gets paid a lot. Every time he complains, it costs him $1.
Yeah. So I'm down to nothing at this point.
So that's an agreement we have. So
He's in
it
the
works
red.
out well for
Yeah.
me because. But people love the show.
Yeah.
People that have homes can go and kind of taste and see things.
Correct. Yep.
And look at maybe, we know we need a roof. Well, there's how many roofers are there, right? There'll be a bunch or whatever it is. And our friends at Rubberstone, people go, what is Rubberstone? This is Rubberstone.
They get to see it.
Rubberstone.
Yeah.
They love Rubberstone. It's such a great product.
Yeah.
And it's being used in so many different ways now.
Right.
It's amazing.
If somebody doesn't know, that's the epoxy that covers crumbled concrete and surfaces like that. And we have some at our camp, and Tom has some at his
it's
home.
all over the New York State Fairgrounds as you walk into there, to the expo center and all that.
But things like that people want to see it and want to touch it. Oh, there it is. Oh, now I understand how
and
this
they
works.
Also, many of our booths, the owners are there. That they can talk to the people that actually do
they have
the work.
access. Yeah,
sure. and that means something that, and that's why we're so glad to be back in person. That one-on-one conversation with the people and really get to know them, and that's where you get your sense of trust. They're going to be in your home, for God's sake.
Yes,
and
and we've all heard the horror stories. There's at least one or two stories a year where somebody got
chucking his trunk.
Bilked. Right. And bilked out of $16,000 or something, crazy.
Do not
like
pay all the money up front.
Never,
Don't do it.
It just gets nutty like that. Anything new this year, like that you're going to try? Do you have enough vendors? Do you want some other people in there?
Well, we certainly can still use some vendors.
Okay.
So you can contact us again at hbrcny.com or 315-463-6261. Talk to Janice. But there's a lot of different new products. Of course, heat pumps are big right now because they're talking about changing over to all electric heating for our homes.
Hey, before you go into that, and I do want to talk about that, I want to make sure I got the website proper. It's hbrcny.com. It's not HBR of CNY?
No, of. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
So it stands for Homebuilder Remodeler, Central New York. So
Excellent.
HBRCNY.
That's a good catch.
You know why? Because when we were doing the of, we had to take the time to say OF. So we just got rid of HBRCNY.com.
So if somebody puts in home remodelers and builders,
It's still gonna
Central New York, they're going to find it.
It is.
Excellent.
Yep.
Yeah, so tell me about this debacle that Hochul is causing.
Oh, well, there will be heat pumps there, so people can talk about, they are talking about the Climate Action Council plan. The scoping plan has come out. Now, parts of it are going to go to the Building Code Council. Parts of it are going to just be given to the different departments to implement. Some of it's going to be legislated. So it will be changing, but I will say I spent the weekend listening to the Senate hearing on it, and there's a lot of pushback because they don't have proper reporting on what it's going to cost us. Who's going to pay for
and
this?
the infrastructure.
They don't care. I'm sorry. Did I just say that? They
the
don't care.
source heating is crazy because we're actually getting electric out of Pennsylvania that they're using coal.
Isn't that
so
crazy?
New York is
Yes.
supposed to be greener, but we're getting our electric. So there's still a lot of work to be done on that.
Tom.
Yeah.
In the local show booth at the show,
Right.
let's get a dunk tank and let's invite Governor Hochul to come. And,
Boy, that would be popular, I'll tell you what.
Tickets are just saying, there's two sides to it. I think there's only one, which is
Well, there
but-
is, and it's common sense and logic.
We've met about it a lot. Our builders, our remodelers. Yes, we can start to make changes over time, but they're right now talking about They were talking about new home construction going in 2024. Now it's 2025. We just have to put more thought into it and make sure we do it correctly, so it works for everybody.
So people need to put on their calendars. It's a few months out here.
Yep.
Not a little less than that. March 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Correct. And if you're interested in exhibiting, you want to pay attention a little earlier because you got to figure out what's going to be in your booth space.
And maybe, we have a lot of small businesses that listen. We hear from them.
Yep.
And some larger businesses. You know what? Maybe you haven't done it. Maybe you did it a long time ago. But to be able to have a conversation, what most business owners in sales folks want is to have a conversation.
Yeah, give me access to my consumer.
Let me talk to them so they understand.
And this is the way to do
you
it.
deliver that in spades.
The people that come to the show want something. Some come very specific. I want new windows. I want new gutters. And some are just kind of shopping. We've had people bring in program guides from 10 years ago and say, okay, I'm ready for a remodeler. I'm ready to build.
Tom's going to buy a pool this year, aren't you, Tom?
I don't know if the wife will let me. But we are we were looking for a bump out. We wanted to do a bump out or the kitchen remodel this year. So I know that I'll be looking for somebody to do those things. Good. Yeah, absolutely. Mary, it's always a great time to be with you, and you do such a good job up there, and I know it's been challenging. But thank you to you and your entire staff.
Well, thank you for having us, and thanks for coming out to the show.
You got it. All right. Mary Thompson right there, Executive Director of Homebuilders and Remodelers. Hour number 2 is going to be starting of the local show, so stick around. We're going to have a conversation with Holly Lowry. She's the COO of Ophelia's Place. And then John Kupperman stops by. He's the owner of Smith's Restaurant Supply. And Brian Dumond, president of Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. And Kyle Groth is the owner of Precise Barber and Company. All in hour number 2 on the local show on 570 WSYR.